Hi there. I'm just about to run into the library, but before I go in, I have a couple holds, and I'm going to pick up a book that I'm going to talk about in a second. Oh my gosh, there's so many people around me. I'm parked on my second tier desperate parking secret spot in an alley. So, Gertrude by Herman Hesse. I thought I would just talk about it before I return it. This really was, how did somebody describe it in a comment? Cerebral, intelligent, interested in some philosophical and or religious Eastern philosophy things. I think that appears in, if I'm not mistaken, several Herman Hesse's books. This does in a light way, but an interesting way. It's about our main character, oh my gosh, I'm forgetting already, is Kuhn. The story is told in the form of a memoir by the composer Kuhn, who achieves eventual success in his art. He meets Heinrich Muth, M-U-O-T-H, a melancholy and self-destructive opera singer who starts to sing some of the things that he's written. He's interested, and Kuhn is cautious, but okay. And then he meets Gertrude. He isn't prolifically involved with women, so him becoming involved with Gertrude is good for him and important to him with a light touch. And he's a philosophical kind of guy. He's in his head a lot. He is trying to be a good son and to his father and his mother, and then especially after his father dies. And he's not somebody that's like an extroverted person who naturally interacts with people, but he finds himself in a small little universe, which I thought was great. I like seeing characters that are more introverted in nature, like me, feel pretty safe or cautiously safe around people, and that's what he eventually does. Yeah, this was a really good, I'm not explaining it so well, but it's a really good introduction for me to Hesse. I will be reading more of Hesse. I've had some good recommendations. I have somebody right in front of my car. Oh my God. So that's that. And before I go, I just brought this to show you. The last time I was at the library, I got out already the first book of the next trilogy series of Anthony Trollope's. This first one's called Can You Forgive Her? I'm not going to dive into the series. I don't know when I'd read the second book. All I can say is I'm really glad I picked this up because this is such a delight. Alice Vavasor is torn between a risky marriage with her ambitious cousin George and the safer prospect of a union with a formidably correct John Grey. That's it. That's all I read on the back. I don't want to know any more. I've already really loved the whole setup and the characters and Alice and her friend, who's George's sister, and John Grey and everything, and how Trollope is laying it all out, and how there's a narrator that's like really present. It's almost like it's a narrator in a play who's breaking the fourth wall. So Trollope's using a little bit of a different technique here. And I like it. It's so funny how like, oh, here you are. And now you're introducing us to the next series, or to the next chapter. Interesting. So yeah, that's happening. So anyway, I'm picking up a Zola book, the first Zola in the series. I don't have the name in front of me. I have a picture on my phone. I've decided, because I was going to pick it up the last time I was here and I forgot. Then I saw Brandon Taylor's excellent essay in the London Review of Books that he linked in his Instagram account. And I read it, and if I wasn't sold already, I'm triple sold now. And so I'm going to get the book. They have it on the shelf at the library, the first in the series. And yeah, I'm just going to try it out, give it a go, see what it's all about. So that's what I'm headed off to do. I'll have a couple more updates. I'm not going to include the long form in this update. Do I have anything else to say? Oh yeah, I started a couple library books that I already have out that I might have more to say before I end this video. So I'll see you in the next clip. Hi again. This is actually the next day, and I'm a little bit more cleaned up. in that previous clip, I ran to the library after this first thing in the morning women's tennis clinic that I started attending maybe 5 weeks ago. It's once a week and it's intense and I love it. There's like 4 or 5 people that show up depending on schedules and stuff. And I love our tennis instructor, Kathy. Tennis is something I've played off and on and I've really enjoyed just casually. And so this is just like drill after drill after drill, working on your technique and your forehand, backhand, all of that stuff. It's so much fun. And really one of the things I was looking for is to add different types of movement to what I'm already doing. Okay, so what do I have? This is the Emile Zola that I picked up. The Fortune of the Rougons. I'll learn how to pronounce the Rougon-Macquart series a little better. Who knows? I'll try it. I mentioned that I have finished the long form. Look, I have some things tabbed. I'll talk about this later once I have better gathered my thoughts on it, but it's been a lovely companion. And I have a couple NetGalleys that I'm reading, or I have a couple NetGalleys. I'm not reading them yet because these are books that are coming out later. I have the Rachel Cusk, but that's not coming out until July. Then I have another one, by Alyssa Gabbert. And again, I don't think that's coming out until July, so I won't read them yet. I started reading Soldier Sailor by Claire Kilroy because I thought it came out in April in the US. I know it's out in other places and it's part of the Women's Prize long list. But as I was into it, about 90 pages, I rechecked and it doesn't come out until I think July. So anyway, I just thought I'd give you an update on it because I've actually decided not to finish it. It's a story told by the narrator is a woman who's just had a baby and she calls the baby Sailor, which I love. And it's a story that she's telling to her son, Sailor. And her marriage is just not going well. I don't know if it wasn't going well before the baby, but it definitely isn't going well now. And her husband's working full time and he's not around a lot and he plays golf. And it's just a lot of arguing. And, it's funny because I just recently read Splinters by Leslie Jameson, and that had a very fraught, tense relationship between her and, that was an actual memoir, her and her husband. But this one, for some reason, when there are scenes where they're like fighting verbally, because that's really what it is, and just the like psychological damage that's happening and all of that, it makes me so tense and agitated. There's other scenes where it's just her and her baby, and then he's getting older as a toddler, and now she's met someone in the park where she goes with him, and it's a guy, and he's the primary parent, or the parent who stays home with his kids because his wife is a doctor, I think, and she wants to be with the kids, but she also loves her career and is very dedicated. So anyway, that's fine, but then she starts talking to him about her fraught relationship and so on. The whole thing, I don't know why, it makes me so tense to the point where I actually just didn't want to keep on going. So I'm going to stop at 90 pages, and it's only like 150 pages, but I've made the decision. I'm going to do my NetGalley review, and that's that. It will be for some people. It is beautiful writing in some of the areas, but I just won't finish it. What am I reading? So I've got like a whole bag of possibilities from the library. I'm not going to share them with you because I might not even get to any single one of them. I'm in one of those things. Other than the Trollop that I'm really enjoying, and then going to try the Zola. I started this and I wanted to ask everyone about this author. My Heavenly Favorite by Lucas Rougon-Macquart, and I'm sorry, I meant to look up the pronunciation of his name, but he has won the Booker Prize in 2020 for The Discomfort of Evening. So I would love to know if any of you read The Discomfort of Evening and what that experience was like. And have any of you read this one? Okay, I love, of course, the cover is so attractive to me. Like, such a clever cover. I just love it. And appropriate too, because this is a little creepy and this book is creepy, but it's designed to be creepy. So, a confession, a lament, a mad gush of grief and obsession. It tells the story of a veterinarian who visits a farm in the Dutch countryside where he becomes enraptured by his favorite, the farmer's daughter. She hovers on the precipice of adolescence and longs to have a boy's body. The vet seems to be a tantalizing possible path out from the constrictions of her conservative rural life. Narrated after the veterinarian has been punished for his crimes. Now, we don't know what those crimes are because you could just imagine that they're something awful. I think they are something awful, but we don't exactly know what's going on. Rougon-Macquart refracts the contours of the Lolita story with a kind of perverse glee, taking the reader into otherwise unimaginable spaces full of pop lyrics, horror novels, so on, so on. So I don't know. This is a big I don't know. But I'm on chapter 3, and even though it's creepy, for some reason, I'm really enjoying the writing, but I don't know if I'm going to last. I don't know. We'll see. So I would love your feedback on that. And that's really all I have to talk about reading-wise, because I just don't know where I'm going to end up going. I'm going to timestamp this, so I'll give you the very short version of some life updates, but I'll timestamp it in case you just want to end it here and because you're here for the book content. So if you are ending it here, thanks for joining me, and if not, I'll give you some recent changes that have happened with my career. So as of 2023, I had been in my insurance and risk management career full-time for 40 years. As a matter of fact, by the end of 2023, it would have been 40 and a half years of full-time in insurance and risk management. That's because I started a job at a insurance company claims office right after high school, the summer of 1983. I started that job in July. I had gotten a lead from my accounting teacher, and she gave me a piece of paper with someone's name on it, Carol, and a phone number to the claims office, and said, here, call her, see if she needs someone. And I was hired as a mail clerk. So I opened and stamped the mail, I attached it to the appropriate claims files, and I delivered it to each claims adjuster in the office. It was a big office. And then I was eventually promoted to the typing pool, and I started an adjuster training program. I became a claims adjuster and a field adjuster by the time I was 21. In that time span, I also got married really young, had a baby, and then I had my daughter 5 years later. Back then, the maternity leave was 6 weeks and unpaid, so you just tried to get back to work as soon as you could. I then became an insurance broker and then spent most of my career as an insurance broker working with large school systems, colleges, and nonprofits. I ended my career as a corporate insurance manager for a government contractor, and that was a lot of fun. Very, very challenging. So my husband and I planned on leaving our careers by the end of the year, which we did. And he went to umpire school, and he's now umpiring baseball for high school. And I have done a couple things. I thought I might be interested in grant writing for nonprofits, so finding grant funding for nonprofits. And so I took a class, and now I'm in a larger class through the University of Pittsburgh. I also reached out to a couple small nonprofits. They happen to be cat rescues here and in central Pennsylvania. And I've been made part of a team for the small cat rescue in the Harrisburg area because I'm new, so I can at least help out with the grant funding research and a part of writing the grant, and that'll help me develop the skills to do the process on my own someday. So yeah, I'm finding that interesting, and so now I'm just volunteering to do that kind of work as I go through the classes. And I also thought that I might be interested in working part-time at a bookstore or a library. So there happened to be a library that I was very interested in, not the one I go to every week, but a beautiful library in a historic landmark building in a wonderful community had an opening, and so now I will be starting as a circulation clerk in a couple weeks later on in April. And then some of the time I'll also be doing what they call paging, which is shelving, reshelving, and pulling books off the shelf. And I couldn't be more excited. I loved the people I met. I love the library and their presence and involvement in the community. So those are the two things that I'm doing now. Will this be a sabbatical for me? I have no idea. Will I do, I should say, I did some consulting for the company that I was working for the first couple months. I onboarded the person that took my role, who happens to be a friend of mine. And so that was good. I might consider consulting in my insurance risk management lane again. I really wanted to try to go in different directions than I had been in my career, just to see what else I could get my head involved in and learn. I love to be in a beginner's space, and I surely am in both of these areas. So I'm really just enjoying the process and the experience as I'm in it. So that's that. Today, actually, as I speak, our little Suki is in surgery. So I'm very on the edge of my seat waiting to get a call to go pick her up. She has something called stomatosis, and so she's having at least a few teeth removed, and maybe all of them. We don't know yet. They have to take x-rays and take a look at each individual tooth situation, but it's a gum condition, and so she has very red rings around some of her teeth, and then her gums are like black and red in the back. Whatever pain she was in that we were treating with pain medication can be gone. So that's happening. Yeah, so that's it for me here. Thanks for joining me. Again, Lucas Regeneveld, feedback, and I'm starting a Zola. Thanks for joining me as always, and I'll see you on the next one.